Nika Muhl might be one of the new faces of women's basketball.
Good web right there, but Lith.
But her off-the-court interests could make her extravagantly rich. Her twin? Have you ever wondered how Paige Buchers and Nika Muhl became twins? Paige and Nika formed a bond from being freshmen together back in 2020. Buchers came from Minnesota as the #1 recruit in the country. Muhl from Croatia was the likely backup point guard to her friend. Over the 4 years, the two of them have created a sisterly bond and refer to each other as twins. After UConn's February 5th win at Marquette, Paige and Nika sat together on a Zoom call with reporters, and when they were asked about playing together, Nika threw her arm around Paige and said that she is her slime, her twin. Paige chimed in by saying that even though the two might not look like it because she's a blonde and Nika is a brunette, the two really are twins. Because they have had such a tight bond, it's been easy for them to coexist on the basketball court. In fact, their bond is so close that even legendary coach Gino Arima got in on the fun and called Nika his slime, which he had no clue what it meant, but had heard Nika and Paige refer to one another like that. It turns out there really isn't much of an origin story behind the nickname. It just began organically and managed to stick. The two of them realized they were very similar in terms of their competitive nature and especially how stubborn they could be. So naturally, they saw themselves as twins. Although the twin joke specifically relates to Paige and Nika, it was also a product of the overall team chemistry, which was aided by the fact that they were not allowed to socialize with anyone other than themselves because of the pandemic. You guys saw me and Paige a lot, but I feel like we're all like that. We're all like that. We're just so open with each other. And of course, she's my twin. She'll always be. But my team is just... this is something different. We have a different vibe. We're just so connected. However, various injuries kept Paige from playing as many games as she would like. The 6-foot guard missed all of last year due to an ACL tear, and Nika replaced her as the starter. She really did have her twins back. But her UConn teammates weren't the only sisters pushing Nika to achieve great things. Her first rivalry started when she was just a kid. Basketball obsession. She changed her sister's career path. Nika was born to be a baller. She tried swimming, triathlon, volleyball, and even spent a week trying out tennis. Before practices, she would spend her days playing basketball with boys at a nearby playground. She always thought about basketball and listened to all the stories her parents told her about their careers in the sport. It wasn't long before she knew she only wanted to play basketball. They wanted me to try other things, but I was pretty stubborn, and at the end I was like, I enjoy playing basketball with boys outside more than I enjoy my volleyball practice in the evening. So they couldn't really stop me. Now this obsessive attitude also rubbed off on her younger sister Hannah, despite the two of them being polar opposites. Their dad said his two girls could not have had more different personalities growing up. Nika was messy, aggressive, emotional, always taking charge. Hannah was much more organized, easygoing, and analytical. Fearing injuries, their parents tried to steer both of their daughters away from basketball. Hannah said she was going to be a swimmer until she watched her big sister playing basketball. From that moment, she saw her sister as her role model and wanted to emulate her. Even when Nika lost, the way she handled it inspired her little sister. The two played together for years on the same club team in Croatia and national teams. Years later, they would face off in college for the very first time as Hannah had made her way onto the Cardinals while Nika was a star with the Huskies. That was the first time the two played each other in an actual game. And speaking of the Huskies, Nika's transition from Croatia to Connecticut left her in tears. Basketball journey. A scary moment led to an unbreakable bond. Croatia is over 4,000 miles from Connecticut. There are no direct flights, and it can take Nika up to 22 hours to get back home. Now, of course, she is a seasoned traveler. She was used to being away from home from growing up playing club basketball throughout Europe. However, 3 days before her first flight to Connecticut ahead of her freshman season, she was filled with a ton of nerves. It is true that she was used to traveling for games, but she had never been away from her friends and family for 9 months straight. I was crying, I was going crazy. I didn't know what to do. I was like, I'm not going anywhere, I'm staying here. My mom and dad looked at me crazy, like laughing at me. But Nika had also dreamed of playing college basketball in America, especially for the Huskies. She was a lifelong Husky fan and couldn't believe that she got into that program. In fact, she thought someone was playing a mean prank on her at first. But once the fact that she got into her dream school settled in, a new type of anxiety arose. She would now have to leave her family if she wanted to make her dream come true. One person who made the transition easier for Nika was her teammate Dorka Juhas. Dorka was originally from Hungary, and she was well familiar with the highs and lows of leaving your family and country behind. With Dorka, Nika found a sense of familiarity and kinship. After that, Paige Buchers came into her life, and we all know how close the two of them became. Quickly, the entire team became like a family environment. They tried getting her to share their shoe obsession and even taught her how to not crease a sneaker when walking. This close-knit family environment translated to incredible achievements on the court. College highlights. Nika would leave her mark on UConn before it was all said and done. Her first year was definitely a learning experience. She soaked up all the information she could and developed her game to be ready for the moment when her number was called. Soon enough, she began to show off her defensive prowess thanks to her unmatched energy and hustle. As a sophomore, she was named a Big East Defensive Player of the Year after averaging 2.2 steals per game, second best in the Big East, and headlining the Huskies' defense, which allowed a league best of 50.8 points per game against conference opponents. In her junior year, she became the most important player for the Huskies after Paige Buchers suffered a season-ending injury. Muhl took on the role of leader of both defensive and offensive ends. On November 20th, 2022, she set the program record for most assists in a single game with 15 against North Carolina State. She also led the nation in assists per game for most of the 2022-2023 season, only finishing behind Caitlin Clark by 0.2 assists. In the final regular season game against Xavier, Muhl recorded 7 assists to bring her season total to 236, 5 more than the single-season school record set by the legendary Sue Bird in 2002. She would finish her college journey by being named to the All-Big East Second Team, Big East All-Tournament Team, and AP All-American Honorable Mention. After which she declared for the WNBA and was selected 14th overall by the Seattle Storm. On draft night, she rocked an incredible outfit, which speaks to her off-the-court aspirations. Off the court. Now, she might have her retirement plan picked out. Nika counts her mother as one of her biggest fashion inspirations and has always loved to dress differently from her peers. I was very unique with my style ever since I was a kid. I feel like I would go to school and people would laugh at me for the way I dress, but I didn't care. My mom told me I looked good. And that's all that really matters. Her style has evolved over the years, piece by piece. She describes her style as a mix of edgy, cool, masculine, and feminine. In other words, it's uniquely Nika. She described the Croatian style as more traditional and safe with an emphasis on comfort. That's why she often wore sweats and streetwear. The way she dresses now, she believes people will either love it or hate it because it is so different than what most are used to. Beauty-wise, Nika says she's a big skincare person who has recently been learning how to do makeup. In fact, it was her teammates that taught her. She credits Olivia Nelson-Ododa, who taught her a lot about makeup and fashion. She likes to wear makeup every time she plays, opting for that clean girl vibe for games. Her Instagram, which has over 300,000 followers, is full of her unique and stylish looks. Now all she needs is her own fashion line, and that could end up making her more money than her playing career. It is safe to say that Nika's future is looking extremely bright.